Beth Sager here with the Lex Local. Today I am with Ruby Boyanapalli and her beautiful red couch, which I love so much. And we're talking basically about your side gig, right? Because during the day you're a scientist, and then at night you turn into. Do you have a name for your business? This particular.
It's called Rura Decors. It's
Okay.
A non-profit.
Nonprofit.
Yes. Yeah. No. I don't keep any of the proceeds. They all get donated.
Oh, how lovely!
To the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's.
Yeah. Nice. Is that special to you for any particular reason?
My dad suffered for quite a few years with Parkinson's. And I figured I'd been doing a lot of drug discovery research, but not anything neurology related. I'm not a neuroscientist by training. So I figured I could find a way to sort of bring together science and my sort of creativity, while sort of offering a platform that is unique as well to folks with the different decors that I do. But at the same time, the satisfaction of just being able to donate those proceeds, I think is dual, right? Not only for me, but then for the folks who are also having their own ceremonies or events. They become part of my contribution as well.
That's so nice. That's so nice. My dad had Parkinson's too. It's a terrible disease. I know.
We lost him last year.
Oh, that's very fresh, very sad. Your decors, you're showing us a few and we'll show them as well. But they're all eco-friendly. So
I wouldn't say all. I strive towards at least recycling things that people are sort of getting rid of. There's a lot of wine bottles recycled in my centerpieces, or cardboard that people are throwing away. For example, I was showing you earlier, right, Beth, the cardboard tubes that Home Depot gets rid of, that they sell or roll their carpet on, ultimately just gets disposed. So they're very willing to give it away to me for free. So they've been really good about it. So I bring those, a little bit of sometimes wallpaper, sometimes paint, and a little bit of art, and it gets recycled into something pretty beautiful. It's eco-friendly, it's light because I got to transport things as well. Plus I need to store them, right? It serves a lot of different purposes as well.
So you do decor for what kind of events?
I would sort of divide so any kind of event really, honestly, right? But being of Indian origin and a lot of my Indian friends who know me. So I started this out mostly sort of providing a platform for, we have a lot of festivals, like celebrations that happen. For example, Diwali in town that IAL celebrates, or the Festival of Colors that we have, right? So I do the decor for those kind of festivals. And that's how I really started. The recycling came about also from a low budget and wanting to recycle stuff. So I started out with a lot of festivals, but then eventually moved on into taking up a lot of family events like housewarming parties. We have a lot of different traditional functions in India as well, like, first time the child wears a sari, or the traditional Indian outfit. There's a ceremony for that, believe it or not. Engagement parties. I've done smaller wedding events as well. I think the Indian events are sort of bucketed either into festivals or then family traditional events. And then I do a lot of birthday parties, graduations, general engagement decor. So yeah, mostly done it.
Nice.
Haven't seen a curveball yet.
So when you're doing something like that, and you'll see the pictures, but it's sort of like a background, right? Sort of like the setup where, and then there's sort of table decor. Is that sort of?
So it depends on the event.
Okay.
For example, a lot of what I do is what's known as engagements, which is like the first time or graduation from a dance school. So really it's mostly kids who are in high school, so they've learned dance for quite a few years, and this is really their stage presentation, and then they become formal dancers themselves, so their certification. So it's a big deal because these kids have invested 10 plus years in getting trained, right? For those sorts of events, then you have the entrance, depending on the venue, right? The venue has an entrance area that's kind of far separated from the auditorium. Then there's that entrance bit. But then there's a welcome table that does have a backdrop. And and you'll see it in my pictures. I have a lot of customization where, the kids have their own pictures and stuff.
Okay.
What I try to do is match the colors of what I'm doing for the event based on the kids one or two of the costumes that they're actually going to be performing in on the day. So that welcome table then has like a guest book and like, brochures for the kids that are handed out. And then I try to display pictures of like, them having gone through their years, like, from the first time they started to dance to where they are now, if it's possible. Sometimes the parents don't have those pictures. Or I try to like, incorporate their first dance outfit, for example. So all that goes on the welcome table. Then we have a little like, photo booth area for people to take pictures. And then given that it's an Indian event, there's always going to be, Ganesha. He's considered the god for auspicious occasions. So somewhere around the entrance I do have a Ganesha. And then there is Nataraja, the god of dance. So I try to sort of exemplify that wherever I can. I do have a separate area for that. And then I do incorporate Nataraja on the welcome table as well. And then there's the stage where, like, the stage is a little bit more simple because the focus needs to be on the dance, but then there's flowers on the bottom. There's like steps where, the student themselves with their teacher do a little bit of a ceremony, which is called a puja, getting blessings of this god Nataraja for their, those anklet things that they wear on their feet. That's a little bit of a setup there. So it's, so for our engagements, it's pretty standard. But then if you're looking at graduations, then like, depending on if it's outdoor, the setup is a bit different. If it's indoor, the venues are a little bit different. But typically I would have like at least a photo booth area. I get very customized. And most of the graduations I've done have had tables with centerpieces. So again, a lot of customization then comes in. Based on the child, the colors come in from where they're graduating and going to, so typically the college colors, right? And then birthdays are again, if there is a theme, then it's focused on that. But typically I work with the families. Some of them don't have any idea, they just like, reach out to me for ideas. Some of them have preset ideas and sort of, work with them to build up on those. And then, level set and be practical about, you can spend oodles of money and get the best decor too without too much effort. So I think that's where I come in and I differ from most other commercial places, where I try to keep my budget as low as possible. Also, I have a selfish agenda, right? The less I spend, the more then can go towards a donation to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So that's really how I operate. For now, I've been doing it solo. I have a lot of friends who help me volunteer. And then the host family themselves, right? Their families who are visiting typically from out of town, or friends of the host family are usually willing to help and jump in, help out. So get it done. I have a 16-year-old who's been doing this with me for the past 4 to 5 years. Now I don't have to pick all of the heavy stuff. He does a lot of the heavy lifting. And I do encourage teens to come help out as well. So it's very interesting. They're all very willing to jump in and help for their friends, right? Especially with like graduations and these dances, right? They all sort of taking turns, right? So in some way they're helping their friends and sort of prepping for when they would be either graduating or having the dance performances. So
How many events do you think you do in like a year?
Depends. Sometimes it's 8 to 10. Like over the summer I landed up doing 8 events. I don't know how I did it, but I did 8 events. So it was a bit crazy.
Because all being customized. And so basically everything sits here or whatever, and then you have to go and put it together there, because some of the backdrops are pretty ornate. I mean, there's a lot of putting it together.
I've been fortunate enough to have now expanded my basement, so a lot of my basement is filled with a lot of the decor stuff. So what I typically do is I try to organize per area, because it gets a little bit daunting when I'm there, right? So if it's like 4 areas, typically, we're looking at covering that in 2-3 hours. I don't have much time, right? I try to pre-plan, think it all out. If I'm getting help from friends and it's a bit more elaborate, then I try to have them over. We do a little bit of a rehearsal. So D-Day, it's not a bit maddening. So it depends on the extent of the event and the availability at the venue as well,
Okay.
in terms of time. Right?
Sounds really like a really great concept.
Yeah, it's fun. It's almost like an art project every single time I
Right.
do it. There are times where I think about stuff and maybe slap things together and see if the colors look good. But sometimes I don't know how the outcome is going to be on the day. So I typically, and then depending on the venue, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes, or I would say more often than not, I try to go visit the venue so I can kind of pre-plan. But sometimes that's not a possibility, right? So I go with pictures, or if I've done I've done an event at the venue, then I'm sort of aware. But yeah, sometimes I have to take a call on the day. Sometimes that one thing that you want to stand up will not stand up and will keep falling down.
No matter what.
And so a lot of ad hoc things do happen. I try to keep it simple for myself, though,
Gotcha.
right? Because people do love to help, but then it becomes also difficult when one person is trying to I often find myself running between areas.
Right.
I've come up with a system.
Nice.
Yeah, I started very chaotic. One of my friends met me recently, and she hadn't helped me out in a while. So she helped me out 3 years back, and then she's like, "Oh my goodness, you've become so calm! I mean, I can't believe how composed and poised you were, right? So I was like, that's called learnings, right?
Right.
So,
Right. Experience.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then working with not as much stuff, now I have more options, right? So over the course of the years, I've sort of every event, I've been fortunate enough that the host families, whatever materials have been bought, if they want to keep stuff, they do, but more often than not, they donate that to me as well.
Oh, that's
So
nice,
then I have the ability then to combine with between different things that I've used. So I try to put things together. Yeah, it's like mix match. Try to make them look different
Right.
by either changing colors or adding some level of customization. So have fun.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks.